Hello guys, this is my PC. If I click on my file explorer and I click on this PC, you can see that I am on red already. Okay, so I have 12 gigabyte free space out of 235 gigabytes, and this is not good. Anything can happen. It can crash your system. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to free up your space, not by deleting files, but by deleting those files that is secretly stored in your PC. Okay, because when you use your PC, the computer automatically, without your authorization, stores some files in your PC, some as backup, some as temporary files, some those files you don't need. So in this video, we're going to find those files and delete them. And by doing so, we should be able to recover some gigabytes of space for our PC. We might end up recovering 100 gigabytes, 50, depending on, what we have right here into the system. Now, the first thing we need to do is to try to spy our PC storage to find out, what is actually eating up, our, gigabyte in this PC. And to do that, I need to click on this Windows icon and I click on settings. Okay. Now on settings, I click on system. Then I need to click on storage, as you can see here. Now you can see my C, drive. I have only just one storage here, 237, and this is how it's being distributed. Okay, it says 225 gigabytes is in use and I have 12 gigabytes free, like I said before. Now let's allow this guy to load. You can see how it's being distributed. This is app and features, others, videos, documents, temporary files. If I click on show more categories, you will see what I have on desktop: pictures, temporary files, music, maps, mail. So I should be able to see how, this space are being allocated to these different sections of the PC. Okay, as you can see, it's done loading. So from here at the snapshot, we should see that we have 158 gigabytes being used for apps and some features. Okay, I have 50 gigabytes being reserved, system and reserved. Okay, 50 gigabytes, that's much. Others 4.4 gig. We don't know what these others are, right? Manage other large files. I have 4 gig, so I'm saying that there's something like 4 gig here. Video is just 4 point something gig minimal. Documents 2.5 gig. Desktop, temporary files, pictures, music, maps, mail, OneDrive. So we can see how it's being distributed, just for your information. Now that we've spied how these, spaces are being allocated in the PC, we can now start tackling them one after the other. Now I'm going to close this. Now the first thing you need to do when trying to clear up your PC is to delete your, recycle bin. Just go ahead and empty it. So here you can see recycle bin right on the desktop. I will double click on it to open it. Right now, recycle bin are those files you deleted from your PC. So this is like a reserve, okay, of those files. In case if you want to recover those files, you can simply right click and click on restore. So this restores the file to the original directory on your PC. So if you delete anything from your PC, it comes to the recycle bin. If you don't want it, all you need to do is to click Ctrl A, which selects all these files. Okay, now you hit on delete and you see this prompt that says, are you sure you want to permanently delete these 12 items? You go ahead and click on yes. Okay, so this is very, very important. Very, very important. So you can see that the folder is empty. So each time you delete any file from your system, it goes to the recycle bin. Do well to just go back in the recycle bin and delete it so that it won't, be occupying, unpermitted space on your PC. So that is the first thing you need to do. Now that our recycle bin is clear, now we need to start visiting those secret areas where, these files are being stored without our permission. And to do that, you will use a shortcut called Windows R. So hit Windows R on your PC. Now this run box comes up, as you can see here. Now here I have cmd as the command. So we're going to enter some commands which will take us to those files, which are hidden. And the first one we enter here is temp, which is temp, which stands for temporary files. Okay, so once you enter it, you hit on OK. Now it takes us to the temporary, file location. So these are files used by the programs. Maybe you are using Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator or Microsoft Word. So sometimes they create, some files and dump them on your PC. So when you are done with the document, I don't know why Windows forget to delete all of these, temporary documents. So I see here, I have so many of them, but they are in kilobytes. But when you add all of this together, it amounts to something. So all you need to do right now is to hit Ctrl A on your PC to select everything. Okay. So now you've selected everything. Now, instead of hitting delete, you do Shift Delete. So hold down Shift and press delete. So this enables you to delete everything permanently. It's not going to the temporary file, you're deleting it permanently off the system. So as you can see the prompt, are you sure you want to permanently delete these 72 items? Can you imagine? I have 72 items, on my temporary file. I'll go ahead and say yes. And as you can see, it deletes everything. So sometimes we get prompt like this. The action can be completed because the file is open in Adobe Update Services. So when you see something like this, go ahead and check this box. We say do this for all items and skip. Okay, that means your system needs these temporary files to function efficiently for now. Okay, so we'll go ahead and skip the files that Windows say, okay, we need these files right now, so don't delete them. So that's it. Now we have cleared our temp location. Now the next location we need to visit, let me come back to the desktop so you understand what I'm doing. The next location we need to visit is still temp. I say Windows R on my PC, which takes me to the temp, but this time I'm going to add percentage. So percentage at the front and percentage at the back. Okay, all I did is to add percentage both front and back, and I click on OK. So this takes me to a different location. So the location is different from that of the first temp. So this is another location on your PC. As you can see, files here being dumped temporarily, okay, unauthorized by the Windows. So all you need to do is to select everything by hitting Ctrl A, then delete everything by hitting Shift Delete. You go ahead and permit for deleting everything. Okay, now like I said before, these files that can't delete are being needed by the PC. I'll check on this, do this for current items, and I skip everything. Go ahead and skip these ones that the system needs currently to function efficiently. Okay, so I will go back. Now the next thing I want to do is to find those files which maybe mistakenly don't know they existed in your PC, which is very large. Go ahead and delete them. Now to do that, I will visit my File Explorer, and I'm going to use this search field here in the File Explorer to search for those files that are maybe too big, that I don't need, that is still in the system. And to do that, I'm going to search for some temps. So first of all, it's kind of program. I will write size, then I will put a column. Right now, when I put a column, you can see some things pops up. I have empty, tiny, small, medium, large, huge, and gigantic. And you can see the gigabyte size appended onto it. So for gigantic, these are files greater than 4 gigabytes. For huge, these are files from 1 gigabyte to 4 gigabytes. Then for large is from 128 megabyte to 1 gigabyte. So I'm interested in those files that are possibly above 1 gigabyte. Okay, so first of all, check if I have gigantic files in my system that I don't need. So I'll click on gigantic. Now you can see no items match searched. So I don't have any file that is, above 1 gigabyte in this system. Okay, I want to say above 4 gigabyte, right? So this time I'm going to search for huge, which is 1 to 4 gigabyte because I don't have gigantic file. So I'll tap on huge. You can see size column huge. So I don't have any file that is from 1 to 4 gigabytes. So that's interesting. Now search for large. Maybe I have something large enough. So you can see I have some files here that are very large. I will just go through their size and see this is 128, 148. I don't have anything very interesting here. Okay, so if I do, I will go ahead and delete them. So let me spy by clicking on view, then click on medium icon so that I will see what it looks like. Now you see these ones, I don't know whether I need any of these files, but I'm sure I don't need this, right? I still don't need this. I still don't need this. So there are a few files there that I don't really need. I'll just go ahead and delete them, right? But that's by the way. So shift delete so that you just leave the system completely. So go ahead and search for those files. Search for gigantic, huge, just the way large here, and see if you can find all those big files up to 1 gigabyte or above that you don't need. You go ahead and delete them. So I'll take my time and look at this before I delete them. So that is one way to clean up your system, right? Now, the next one we are going to check is we'll go back here and you still hit Windows R for this run, box to come up. Now we are going to search for another term, which is, you can see the Cleanmgr. Okay, Cleanmgr. As you can see here, then I click on OK. Now this, brings up your disk cleanup for C, as you can see here, right? This is your disk cleanup. Now here you can clean your disk. As you can see, there are some buses that were checked. These are temporary internet files. I have 691 kilobyte, very small. Okay, DirectX, delivery optimization, my recycle bin, I just cleared it so I don't have something inside it. I have temporary files, so you have thumbnails. So sometimes checking all of these, but make sure you know what you're doing, and deleting them cleans your disk. But if you see, I have very little. Okay, I have very little, just something on thumbnails, and thumbnails is important. They are just preview of the files you have in your system. Okay, if you have your photo in your computer, and when you look at open the for example, when you open the videos in your PC and you start seeing all these small icons, the folders icon, these are thumbnails. So clearing your thumbnails will make the view look messy. So all these are thumbnails. They are very important, right? So Windows R, go back to Cleanmgr. So sometimes you just need to know what you are doing. So for me, I don't like cleaning my thumbnails, right? I used to leave them because they will still recreate them. So if you find anything, maybe your recycle bin, your temporary, I can clear these temporary files. I can clear this DirectX shader cache. I can clear this. So once I've seen enough, I'll go ahead and hit OK. Right? I'll see, are you sure you want to permanently delete these files? I'll go ahead and say OK. So sometimes you might see gigabytes of data in this disk cleanup, whatever. So you just go ahead and clear it, right? So that is another one. Now, a very important location that we need to visit right now is I'll hit Windows R. This time I'm going to type AppData. AppData, as you can see it here. Okay, this is AppData. Now you go ahead and click on OK. All right, so it opens up the AppData. Now click on local. Open this local folder. Now this is very important depending on the kind of applications you use. Okay, most times you will see these applications in this AppData local folder. Now sometimes they dump some files that you don't need. For example, if you're an editor and you're using, maybe for example here I have CapCut. Okay, and if I scroll down you can see I have TechSmith. This is Camtasia Studio, okay, folder for those that use Camtasia Studio. So sometimes all of these, editing programs saves file in our computer. Okay, maybe if you edited a video, you've gotten your finished work, and those videos are still in your system. When you have deleted them, actually you don't need them. Okay, so now let's see what we have for here. I think CapCut have something to do with my drive. Okay, this is CapCut. Okay, if I go ahead and open CapCut, now you can see that. Let me run this app to see what we have in this app. Let me check properties so that I will see how many gigabytes of space that this app is holding. It's still counting, right? Okay, 9 gigabytes for apps. So what do I have inside these apps? Let me go ahead and double click to open it. Now you can see that these are previous versions of CapCut applications that I'll be installing, because most times they will give you an update and they'll ask you to update CapCut, and once you update it, they will still leave the former files. Okay, the former versions here. I think the recent one I'm using is 8.5.0. This one is the last CapCut applications that are installed, but you see that all these old files are still here. So what I need to do is to check them. I'll hold shift and check up to the last one before the last one I'm using, and you can see that this will give me a good space, right? And I'll hit on shift delete because I want to delete permanently, and I will say yes. So if you use CapCut applications and maybe you've been updating your CapCut from time to time, those app files are still in your system. Then you need to update them completely. It's not only CapCut that do this, other applications do this. So any application that you update from time to time, the former software is still in your system. Okay, as you can see, I'm done, deleting the files. I can still delete this one, but I'm just trying to be careful. Okay, this one is 1.49 gig. Now let me spy and see, what I've recovered. Now I have 20.9 gig. So invariably I've recovered up to 9 gigabytes. Okay, now let me continue with this app data folder. Let me go back to local and see if I have something from CapCut. So this is CapCut draft. I have 2.66 gigabytes. Okay, if I open it, and these are drafts. Okay, as it's being called draft, I don't think I need this, the whole of it. So I will go ahead and hit shift delete to delete it permanently. Are you sure you want to permanently delete this folder? Yeah, draft. I don't think I need it, right? So sometimes when you're doing this, if you're not careful, if you don't know what you're doing, don't delete. Try to know what the folder does before you delete it permanently from your PC. So most times these things takes time. It might take, I can see how it's going. It's very, 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 very slow, right? So as you can see, over 291.759 items was found on my CapCut draft. Now, what is CapCut draft? CapCut draft are just those projects that you have in your CapCut applications, So when you are done exporting them, when you open your CapCut, you will see the project you've done since. All those are drafts and they are being stored in your system, not in the cloud. Okay, so if you have any project in your CapCut that you felt is still work in progress, or you don't have a backup, you can just go ahead and back it up if it's very important before you clear your draft. But right now, everything I have in my CapCut PC is, I'm done with the project. I've exported the project, so I don't need them anymore. That is why I'm clearing my CapCut draft. As you can see, it amounts up to 20 gigabytes of space on my C drive. So clearing this should give me extra 20 gigabytes. So if you are using, different applications, maybe Adobe product or any video editing product, you might still check the folder to see if you have something like this. Okay, I think Camtasia does that and some other applications. So let's go ahead and delete this. It will take a while. Okay, so you see that. So I've succeeded in deleting that particular, folder, everything inside. Now let me spy my C drive and see. Now we have 42.8 gigabytes. Okay, before we are on red, right now we are on blue. So we're making progress. Now let me go back to this AppData folder. This is a very powerful folder in your PC. It houses a whole lot of nonsense. Okay, now I've dealt with CapCut enough. Let me check this cache and see what we'll have inside. Click on properties. Not inside, just kilobyte of data. So I don't need anything here. Let me scroll down. Crash dump. Megabytes of data. It's not my problem. Let me check the TextMix folder, which I saw. This is temporary file. Megabyte, no. This guy has 6 point something gigabytes. Okay. This is from Camtasia. Now, if I go ahead and double click, you can see Camtasia Studio. This is the folder. Let me see what we have inside there. You can see this is crash dump. This is the major problem. Crash dump. Are you seeing it? 6.24 gigabyte. Just go ahead and select it and shift delete, right? Yes. So right now we're going to recover, that was fast. Let's check and see what we have here. Now you see it's, 49 gigabyte of space. So that way, go ahead and check very well, this local file. You might be able to see, a whole lot of, files that you don't want, right? And go ahead and delete them. So I think this video is long enough, right? So it's very simple. If you know what you are doing, you can do a lot. If I check in this local low, which are more of low files that I'm sure I can find anything that this large on this local low. Let me check my roaming files and see if I have something. I have C Corel here, megabyte, Audacity, megabyte. So it's very there's TextMate also, kilobyte. Okay, roaming right now. So as simple as that, go ahead and check your files. You might see something, especially if you're a video editor, you use all these programs, they will definitely be dumping, some files that you don't need anymore right there in your PC. So there's a whole lot of ways or things you can do to free up. Like if you check on settings, I saw Hibernation in the storage system. Storage, I saw what was given to Hibernation. I saw that, right? Let me check system and reserves. System and reserves. You can see Hibernation file 6.32 gigabyte. So this is for when you hibernate your system. So this space helps the computer, let's say, hold data just the way it is, so that you may on your system, you still see the apps open and whatever you are doing will open. So this is the storage that are located to that. So if you're the type that doesn't, hibernate your computer all the time, you can go ahead and turn this off. Windows R, you can see here, from here I can access the CMD. Okay, if I say okay, you can see that it opens my panel. So from here I can write a code that will turn this off. Right, so this video is long enough, but I believe that if you follow the steps we have followed right now, you should be able to recover even more of the space that we've recovered, because I believe that we recovered close to 40 gigabytes of data by what we've just done. So that's what's up, and see you in the next video.